A very fun countdown to welcome us to this session today. It's so fantastic to have so many HR and benefits professionals joining us today as part of our International Women's Day series. My name is Grace Stokes and I'm Head of Client Success here at Peppy, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be hosting this session alongside some of the best clinical experts in women's health. International Women's Day is the perfect time to start taking action. And when it comes to women's health in the workplace, action is exactly what we need. Today, we're looking at how some of the UK's best employers are moving beyond token gestures and embedding real, meaningful women's health support into their organisations. At Peppy, we're lucky enough to work with over 250 of the biggest employers in the UK, and we support millions of employees throughout their careers. Because women's health isn't just a one-time event, it's a journey. From periods to fertility, pregnancy to menopause, and everything in between. The right support at the right time can make a huge difference to engagement, productivity, and retention. And smart employers know that investing in women's health isn't just the right thing to do, it's a strategic advantage. So today, we'll be lifting the lid on what's working, and our expert clinicians will share insights into how leading employers are embedding real, meaningful women's health support into their organisations, and that's going to be from policy to practice. The incredible ROI of women's health benefits, because we know it's better that we support women's health because it will lead to better business outcomes. And we also know it can be difficult to report on ROI. So we really want to help you with that as well. And then we will also share some real life stories from employees who've experienced firsthand how the right support can transform their work life. And of course, we want to hear from you. So if you've got questions for us today or for any of the panelists, please do pop them in the Q&A box and we'll get to as many as we can at the end. I've got some housekeeping on screen now as well. So if there are any problems, you've got an email address for you to contact. The event is being recorded. So again, you might want to share this with colleagues after. And also, it is still International Women's Day. I know we've passed the day at the weekend, but we're still celebrating here at Peppy. So you've got the hashtag there as well. So before we get into the detail, let's meet our lovely panelists. I'll let each of them introduce themselves and share a bit about the challenges that women face in the workplace when it comes to their health. So Jen, I'm coming to you first. Welcome.
Hello, hi everyone. So I'm Genevieve, Genevieve West. I'm the lead practitioner for the Pregnancy and Parenthood Service here at Peppy. So my background is in midwifery with lots of experience in kind of all areas of maternity in the NHS. And then I joined Peppy in 2022, so I've been here for about 3 years now. I lead a team of highly experienced midwives, health visitors, and lactation consultants who provide families with comprehensive multidisciplinary support. That, like the other services, is tailored to each person's unique needs. So I think one major challenge here in women's health is that women face at work particularly is the lack of support, also combined with the stigma around asking for help when they need it. So in my experience, many women fear that kind of speaking up may feel like a bit of a weakness, whether it's for pregnancy symptoms, post-birth recovery, perinatal mental health, or just other women's health concerns in general. I think just too often women feel that they have to just push through, a reoccurring theme, and that without enough help and support available to kind of help them on that journey. So this is one reason why I feel that expert confidential support is crucial at all of these stages of their lives. So I'm really looking forward to today's conversation and looking at how we can kind of make workplaces a little bit more supportive. But that is me.
Thank you, Jen. Lovely to have you here. Janet, over to you. Oh, Janet.
Apologies, sorry, you wouldn't want that cough anyway. No, I'm Janet Wingfield. I'm Peppy's menopause lead. I've been a nurse for 45 years, with the last 2+ decades dedicated to primary care, increasingly specialising in women's health, and I'm driven by a deep passion for supporting women, particularly through their menopause journey. Many women reach the peak of their careers during menopause transition, and they continue working well into their 60s, myself included. I think a key challenge is creating workplaces that provide the necessary support and understanding, enabling employees to manage the physical and emotional changes of menopause whilst maintaining their well-being and their performance. I too am excited to be part of the conversation today.
Thanks, Janet. We're very excited to have you here. Frida, over to you.
Thanks, Grace. Hi, my name's Frida Cuff. I'm the lead fertility and women's health practitioner here at Peppy. I too have been here for 3 years, and I'm, very proud to be leading a team of really dedicated fertility nurses and fertility midwives in supporting your employees as they navigate fertility journeys and women's health challenges. I've been a nurse for 25 years, and really, since I qualified, my focus has been on women's health and specializing really in fertility, where I've been privileged to see families grow over the last 20 years. And I do think that one of the biggest challenges that we see, especially for women's health these days, is time to diagnosis. We are faced with, unfortunately, lots of challenges put in our way to get a diagnosis. But during this time, we have to, I suppose, flourish in all other areas of our lives, but it impacts all areas of our lives, from our careers to our families to our relationships. So I do think that that is one of the biggest challenges that we have in front of us. And again, I'm really excited to be part of today's discussion.
Thanks, Frida. Lovely to have you here. And finally, Abby.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Grace. Just to reiterate, yeah, it's great to be here with you all today. My name is Abby, and I'm one of the fitness practitioners here at Peppy. I have worked within the fitness industry for around 10 years or so now. And within my time, I've really developed a big passion in women's health and well-being, which is where I've kind of focused my attention for the majority of my working life so far, and kind of where I've specialised. I've been lucky enough to work with a whole range of women from different ages, backgrounds, and life stages, abilities, health conditions, etc. On top of that, I'm also a women's massage therapist, and I recently qualified as a midwife last year. So I'm really kind of hitting lots of different angles for caring for women. But at Peppy, I am part of a team that offers health and fitness advice via online chats. We run classes, educational content and events and things like that. I think for me, the key challenge that I see within the kind of fitness side of things in the workplace is time, or maybe I should say the lack of time. Women who work are often juggling so many other things in life, and that lack of time they have in their day, it often equates to a lack of time and care for themselves as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Abby. And congratulations on qualifying for being a midwife last year. I didn't know that. But what a fabulous panel we have here for you all today. And I'm so lucky that I get to work with these lovely ladies every day. But before we get into the burning questions that I have for them all, I want to do a quick poll that's really just going to help us shape the conversation today. So, in your opinion, which area of women's health do you think is most overlooked in the workplace? We've got fertility, pregnancy and parenthood, menopause, general reproductive health, so periods, PCOS, endometriosis, women's mental health, or all of the above. I'll give you a couple of minutes just to respond there. Actually, minutes is way too long. You're not getting 2 minutes, a couple of seconds. Okay, I can see some answers coming through. Okay, amazing. We got all of the above on 54%. So yeah, it's not really surprising, because I think all of these things do impact women's health throughout their journey, throughout their careers, throughout their lives. So yeah, I'm glad we've got a real range of our panelists today who actually cover all of these services, and we can dive into those a little bit more. I think, again, after all of the above, we've got general reproductive health. So I think, Frida, that kind of goes to your point about diagnosis, particularly PCOS and endometriosis.
Absolutely. It's it's a testament to kind of where we sit at the moment. We have a women's health strategy which was initiated by a previous government in 2022. So it's working. But 7.5 year wait to actually have a formal endometriosis diagnosis it really is shocking, and that's because, women's health actually does often, especially with these kind of conditions, have lots of vague symptoms. With that, women's health kind of isn't often the first thing that comes to mind. Other things are investigated first. And not all GPs are specialists in gynecology or women's health. So you do find that there can be long delays, and we've seen that, more than 40% of women actually have attended the GP more than 10 times before they've had a gynecology referral. And that in itself is, it's time out of your working day, it's time out of your life, it's suffering with symptoms during all this time, so it has this direct impact on every part of your life. So that time to diagnosis, if that can be shortened, and symptoms managed, it can make such a positive effect on your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like we say, value or just understood in the workplace.
Yeah.
Will just help those people going through that really know that they are supported and they can take that time.
It's people being heard.
Exactly. But thank you for that, Frida. Well, let's kind of have a look at what's happening in the real world now. So Peppy works with top employers, as I mentioned, like Disney, British Airways and Santander. And we've seen some brilliant progress in the workplace for women's health. But across the wider industry, we know that there are still big gaps. And as we just said, it's overlooked in the workplace. Women's health issues are, unfortunately. Now, Janet, from your experiences, what would you say the best businesses are getting right when it comes to women's health? And where are the opportunities for other businesses to step up?
Yes, of course, Grace. So we're seeing businesses going above and beyond writing policies. They're applying proactive approaches such as educating their managers. They're building wellness teams that include wellness champions who foster open and supportive environments. This reduces the stigma and it alleviates that fear of judgment of speaking up. This shift increases well-being, which leads to increased productivity, attraction and retention of talent, and the development of loyal and motivated teams. So if you haven't already, it's really important to properly train those managers to recognise and address the unique challenges that women face. Make that cultural shift. Normalise those conversations around women's health to create that inclusive environment. And finally, empower your women at all levels so they feel supported and heard. And by addressing these opportunities, it will create lasting change and set a positive example.
Amazing. Thank you, Janet. I love your point about wellbeing champions or women's health champions. I work with Amex and they have menstrual health champions, which I just think is fantastic. It's such a safe space for their colleagues to go to and get that support. Jen, coming to you next, have you seen any standout examples of companies really leading the way in women's health support? And again, what can people learn from them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's recently quite a lot of companies stepping up to the women's health space, but one that particularly stands out to me recently is Bloomberg. So I recently visited the Bloomberg offices with yourself, Grace, to deliver a session for parents, for those on parental leave, recently returned to work, or kind of preparing to take that leave. And what struck me most was seeing firsthand the impact of workplace support in action. So during that session, it was obvious that Bloomberg isn't just providing resources for their employees, they're creating a real sense of community by doing these face-to-face sessions. And by bringing employees together in similar situations in one room, they're helping parents what felt like connect, share experiences and stay engaged with their workplace through their parenting journeys and whatever stage they're at in their leave. And I know that it was obvious that that kind of support makes a huge difference to people, not just for now, but like for the long term as well. And again, it was obvious during that session that it clearly reassures employees that their well-being matters and that they don't have to just navigate these transitions alone. There are other people and there's other support out there that are there for them again at any stage that they're at in that journey. But I mean, if we look at this example, I think other companies might be able to learn from this moving forwards, but by going beyond their policies and their benefits to create more meaningful human-centered support systems like the one that we did there at Bloomberg. It just makes such a big difference for the people that are kind of having these huge life transitions. Again, not just in pregnancy, there's other huge life transitions that we've talked or are going to be talking about today. But from my experience is about making sure that employees feel, again, like Frida said, seen, heard and valued at every stage of their women's health journey. So I would say that that's probably one that stands out to me recently as like a really good example of what people and workplaces are doing right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. They're one that definitely kind of stays with me as well. And like you say, it isn't just enhancing the parental leave policy. It's thinking about, okay, well, when someone is on leave or going through that journey, how can we really provide that wraparound support? And I think Bloomberg are a great example of how they do that. Okay, thank you both. So let's get into the numbers now. Now, we know that supporting women's health isn't just the right thing to do. It is a smart business move. But again, we know that HR and benefits leaders are often asked to justify the cost in terms of ROI, which can notoriously be a difficult measure to show. So let's break it down then. How do we prove the ROI of investing in women's health benefits? And what is the tangible business impact? So whether that might be productivity, retention, or engagement, how can businesses really show that? Frida, I'm coming to you first.
Oh, it's amazing. We are in this privileged position where we can see kind of, I suppose, a whole lot journey of your employees. So to me, it's kind of real life to be able to say to you, we have helped, we've supported, and we've helped your employees navigate challenges which are in front of them. And I suppose when I look and I think of, people who we have supported, how has that impacted not just their home life, their personal life, but their working life? And, we're in the Women's Health Service, we're really delighted to have a really, really robust support service for our women who potentially are suffering from polycystic ovaries. And in my head, I do have one example of someone who we spoke to. She joined us on chat and she wanted to talk about her cycles and the difficulties she was having, the struggles that she was having, not just with the cycle itself, but what it did to her mental health, her anxiety, the difficulties she ended up having sleeping. And it becomes all encompassing for some people. Given that we were able to tease things out on chat, we did feel that, she may well benefit from joining our PCOS pathway. So we started by literally sending her a type form which said, tell us about your symptoms. Let's see if you fit our categories. And she did. She, was very clear with us, how much she had struggled. And she had been forwards and backwards to the GP for years and was told, take the pill, you'll be fine. This is just how it's meant to be. But never felt heard. She'd struggled with work. She'd struggled with confidence. She had lots of typical physical PCOS symptoms like weight gain, issues with slight male pattern baldness, all sorts of things, which really, I suppose, dent your confidence. But not only that, she was like, I just don't feel present a lot of the times because I'm worried all the time. So we supported her. We got her on our pathway. And one of the massive positives that we are able to offer as part of our pathway is we can do some blood panel screening, and that is one of the diagnostic tools that is used to diagnose PCOS. She was so delighted because we listened to her. It was not a long period of time. She actually felt like she was getting somewhere. And she actually said to us, I really love this. I would love to have my bloods done. I would love to know if this is actually a condition I'm suffering from. So, she completed her bloods, and not amazingly, but those bloods were very, very, very much confirming that she indeed did have PCOS. And what we did then is we went through her symptoms. We gave her advice on supplementation. We gave her dietary advice with the help of our fitness and our nutrition team. So we were able to wrap around that care. But not only that, we were also able to give her a report to take to her GP along with her results. And what that did was it actually fast forwarded her journey in the NHS to get a formal diagnosis, to get as well management of her symptoms so that it worked well for her. 3 months later, when we do our check-in, it's like she's like, I feel like a different woman. I'm present. I'm living my life. I can see differences in myself. And, what more can you ask for, for the intervention that we give? So, she was like, honestly, she appreciated everything. And she was so positive about the experience that she had, that, she wanted her team to be very aware. She was very open about the fact that she had struggled, and we know this was through Capgemini. She worked for them, and in reality, there has been such a positive impact that we can see on a daily basis with users who use these pathways that we have developed for these really, really kind of, I suppose, underserved conditions, but conditions which are so common.
So common and can be so impactful for you at work every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you say, we have all those stories that we can tell. So how do we translate that into the ROI? And I think that's where, we can translate those stories. And actually, if we think about someone like this, the impact that has on work, them feeling a certain way, them not being able to bring their best selves to work, but also providing support like Peppy, it does help you retain that top talent, drive your business forward, and also attract as well. Jen, I know we recently worked together with L'Oreal, didn't we, enhancing their pregnancy and parenthood support. I'd love to kind of hear from you why it was so important for L'Oreal and actually what the ROI is for them as well.
Yeah, I sure can. So L'Oreal, I guess, like lots of forward-thinking companies, see that supporting parents, particularly through pregnancy and early parenthood, isn't just a nice to have. It's actually really important for businesses to thrive. So I guess, again, like Frida's put it into an example, like a real life example that I could explain and had a person that I've got in my head to really kind of put this into perspective, is a mum or a parent that we recently supported called Mira. She was preparing to go back to work after maternity leave, and she was really feeling anxious about going back to work and in the workplace. She came to us saying that she felt that she was struggling with low mood. She was worried about breastfeeding, how she kind of managed that transition and feeds whilst going back to work. She was nervous about her child settling into nursery and adjusting to a new manager when she went back as well. So we knew that is a lot to navigate all at once, especially already it's hard trying to get to sort of transition back into work, never mind all of that going on. So we knew that without the right support at the right times, the challenges like these don't just disappear. They can, in the long term, lead to things like extended leave, disengagement, or even really leaving the workforce altogether. But recently, statistics, which is where we kind of formed a lot of our return to work support with here at Peppy, is that we know that around 85% of women leave full-term work within the first 3 years of having their first child, which is massive. So if we can help in any way, shape or form to reduce that number, then it's a win-win. So again, that's where we stepped in for Mira. We provided one-to-one return to work consultations and a lot of supportive chats. So yeah, like a double pronged support here. We helped her put together a structured plan, guided her through discussions with a new manager, and provided expert advice on kind of that breastfeeding while at work and nursery settling strategies that we could provide her for her child. So a lot of different things there that we could put in place to help that transition feel a lot smoother for her. We also connected her with her employer's parenting support group that she had. And so she had a lot of people and a network of people who truly understood what she was going through. And that is the difference. So that by the time she was ready to go back in the workplace, she felt so much more confident and in control. So she told us on numerous occasions how supportive it had been, and how actually without this in place, she really doesn't know how she would have coped going back into the workplace at all. And it's exactly why companies like L'Oreal are making parental support a priority. It's not just about, I feel, doing what we feel is the right thing, but we know that the return on investment in supporting employees in these areas, again, boosts productivity, reduces unplanned leave, and keeps talented women in the workforce long term. Just to kind of name a few little areas that it supports in. But I ultimately think that when people feel supported, they're happier, they're healthier, and they're more engaged. And that's a win-win for everyone, I think. But yeah, just, really kind of leading the way there in the support that's provided. But just an example there.
Amazing. Thank you, Jen. And I think you're right, all of those things that if we think about the stat of people leaving the workforce, how can we improve that? And putting measures like this in place really can. And my kind of bit of advice for businesses looking at ROI is track your own numbers, know your numbers. How many of your employees are coming back to work after having a child? How many women between 45 to 55 are leaving the workplace because of menopause? And look at your numbers of absentees and start measuring that. And when you do introduce more things, you will over time see all those numbers improve. So that's kind of my bit of advice there. But beyond the hard data, let's kind of keep looking at that real life impact. I'd love to hear about some more kind of stories from employees who've benefited from Peppy's support, and how it's changed both their work and personal life. Now, Abby, I'm going to come to you first, because I know that you have a real focus on supporting women throughout their proactive and preventative healthcare journeys.
Yeah, I suppose I'm in a really fortunate position in that I kind of see all women through all different life stages. But I think the person that comes to mind to share for now is one of our pregnancy and parenthood users. Now, this focus is more so on her personal life, I would say, but it like the long-term effects, I'll get into it. So this user, let's call her Jenny for the sake of today. So Jenny initially sought our support in terms of exercising through her pregnancy. So she was unsure of what was safe to do. She'd always exercised, but mainly kind of high intensity type work, and she wasn't sure whether she should still do that. So she just stopped exercising completely once she found out about her pregnancy. At this point, she reached out to us, and then we were able to support her, and this kind of continued through each trimester. So, the support was there to adapt her training through the different trimesters, making tweaks along the way for her. There was one point where she experienced some discomfort in her lower back and her kind of like pelvic hip area. And so at this point, we actually referred back to the pregnancy and parenthood team. Turns out, there was nothing there, but it was lovely to be able to have that multidisciplinary team support to go between with her. So anyway, she was given the green light to go back to exercise, and we continue to then support her. And actually then we could again adapt these programs and subsequently kind of help to ease the discomfort she had been feeling, allowing then for an easier transition through the following trimester. But it also meant that, she was able to continue staying active and mobile and moving during her pregnancy. Now, the beautiful thing is this same user has come back to us for support postnatally after a C-section. So now we've been able to take her through the postnatal considerations on returning to exercise. giving her, a new set of exercises and supporting that change of mindset towards exercise at this point. And in fact, I've got another consultation with her in a couple of weeks' time to kind of go through the next steps. So it's been a really lovely journey with her to be able to offer, the safe support and exercises through pregnancy into the postnatal, to be able to keep her strong, help with, improving her energy and her vitality to look after herself and her newborn. But I think ultimately it's now setting her on the right road and the right path to longer term recovery, and ultimately what is going to be her return to work at the end of all of this.
Amazing. Thank you, Abby. And I think that is a really kind of clear example of actually how you support again throughout all of those journeys. And Frida and Jen, I know kind of with the services that you lead, you work a lot with Abby's team, but also you guys work very closely together with supporting our users or employees as well, don't you?
Absolutely. And I think that's it's something that you don't see in lots of places, because we do have a very seamless transition from, we in fertility, we're seeing women who are thinking about starting to conceive, trying to conceive, getting to the stage where they're early pregnant. And then what's nicer than to be able to say to them, we've now got a team who will support you the whole way through your pregnancy and to when your child is, 2 years old. That doesn't happen anywhere else. It's fantastic. And myself and Jen have talked about it, and we have a lady that we both know. She spent quite a long time with us in the fertility team. So if I just give you a brief synopsis of her, and then I'll hand you to Jen, who can tell you about looking after her, from the pregnancy and parenthood side. But again, for today, we will call her Kate. So Kate approached us in 2021. She was actually 39 at that stage, which she'd never tried to conceive. So she was an older lady who was about to start this journey. She was conscious of her age, but she was really positive. She was like, no, it's going to happen. Everything's going to work. Everything will be fine. So we talked her through, all of the pros and cons, gave her lots of preconceptual care, and we offered her a test. We offered her a test called an AMH, which is an ovarian reserve test. And it kind of gives you a snapshot of your fertility potential. The results come back very quickly. It's a home test, so you can do it in the comfort of your own home, not having to go off to another appointment somewhere else. Do it in your own home, put it in the post box. We'll get you the results within a couple of days. When the result came back, it actually revealed she had a much lower reserve than we would have expected for her age. She was really upset and anxious and really concerned about her chances. So we spent, quite some time counselling her about what her options would be. And she decided that, time was not her friend, and she was going to be proactive. So she looked at, fertility clinics. She decided on a fertility clinic. She discussed her options with them. Her partner had fertility challenges too, so they may well have needed fertility treatment anyway. But, she went in all guns blazing during 2022. She had 4 cycles of IVF treatment, which were all unsuccessful. Now, she worked the whole way through this. So, she juggled, and that's literally what she did. She juggled appointments, she juggled through, the emotional, and it is a roller coaster of fertility treatment, and obviously the crushing kind of negative cycles. She did fall pregnant in 2023, but miscarried. But finally, in November 2023, she fell pregnant again, and happily she conceived, and the pregnancy, everything went to plan. She navigated her journey with us in the fertility team up until she was 12 weeks pregnant. And from then, we were able to say, we can hand you over to our fabulous pregnancy and parenthood team, who are now going to support you during your pregnancy, delivery, and postpartum. And she thought this was the best thing ever. So she was literally supported from before she even thought, of having, well, when she'd started thinking of having a baby. So from preconception, we had got her to where she was, which was 12 weeks pregnant, and now we could hand her over so that she and her baby could be looked after, and Jen will take the story from there.
Thank you, Frida. I'll just go super quick. So obviously Frida's given a bit of a history there, but she again transitioned to us, where she received guidance and support from all of our team members, so the midwives, the health visitors, and the lactation consultants. And then we supported her through things like through her pregnancy, sudden changes that had happened through her pregnancy, decisions that she's having to make. We helped her create flexible birth plans to accommodate these changes. And then we also guided her through things like personal challenges, ensuring that she had the support needed for her and her partner's mental well-being as well. So just a few tiny key areas that we kind of supported Kate with along that journey. But she came to lots of live events, she read the content, she made use of the chat. And she had, again, several video consultations at varying stages and with varying professionals as her journey kind of progressed. Just some of the feedback that I wanted to share, because she was very verbal in telling us these things throughout her pregnancy and postnatal period, but equally it was really nice to see some written down in black and white. And this was her writing to us saying, "You guys have really been by my side through so much. Fertility treatment, pregnancy, and now baby and motherhood. I'm forever singing your praises to anyone I speak to. Thank you so much. I've had a better day today, and I think mainly because I had the better understanding of what to expect." And I think that really ties it up with the fact that we're preparing these people, that we're supporting them every single step of the way. And she's not kind of the only one who says this lovely feedback. It's a reoccurring theme that it boils down to that fact that we support people and we prepare them, and it's that preparation in what's to come next that I think really sticks with people and makes them feel like they can do whichever part of that journey that they're at. So yeah, I think just a nice little synopsis quickly of what this user kind of went through with us. But I think to kind of round that up, like Frida said, we can support in the pregnancy and parenthood service up to that 2-year mark. But the amazing thing about Peppy is that we can seamlessly transition, and we did with Kate. We transitioned her actually to the menopause service for her next stage of the life, because that's where she was at in her stage, and she needed that support by the time that her 2 years had come to an end with us. So this wraparound support for all our users is kind of one of the reasons why I love doing what I do here at Peppy, and I think it's that there's something about that that you can't get anywhere else.
And I think it's evidence for businesses that women's health isn't just a moment in time. It is a journey, and you really do need to think about it at every single stage of life. Okay, thank you both. It's always good to hear those stories. But let's zoom in now on some of the biggest myths, misconceptions, and must-knows for HR teams. I'm going to put each of you on the spot for a really short, snappy answer, because we could chat all day. Janet, over to you first. So obviously we know menopause is finally getting more attention, but what's the biggest myth employers still believe, and what's the reality?
It's just about hot flushes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, just about hot flushes, when actually we know that there are many physical and psychological symptoms, and that they go on for many years.
Yeah. I mean, I've been at Peppy almost a year, and I can't believe the amount of symptoms from menopause. Frida, what about you? So fertility struggles are personal, but they impact work too. What's the one thing that HR leaders really must get right here?
I think the biggest thing is, it's more that your employees need to know that it's more than just policies, and that you're flexible, you're compassionate, that you got their back, that you're literally there on the journey with them because you want to retain them. So, I definitely think it's being open to conversation, because like you said, it's very personal. So for a huge number of people, it's a difficult conversation to have. But yeah, being open, being available, and letting your employees know what support there actually is there for them.
Absolutely. I think, like we said at the beginning, creating that safe place, that environment for people to be able to speak and get that support. Jen, what about for you? So what's the most overlooked part of supporting employees through pregnancy and early parenthood?
The most overlooked part, I think, well, I've already mentioned it. I think it's the transition before and after parental leave. So I guess while many organizations focus on the leave policies themselves, they can overlook often that, like, the emotional, logistical and professional hurdles of stepping kind of away from your role, your workplace, and then leaving sometimes lots of friends behind as well. And then reintegrating into all of that when you have obviously had a significant length of time off and away from the workplace. But I think that's where we kind of come and bridge that gap and provide the support and the guidance that we know helps in so many different ways. And hopefully we can reduce that 85% of women that have to leave or feel that they have to leave full-time work. So I think that's probably for me the one place that's is lacking at the minute.
Thanks, Jen. And Abby, what's the one thing would you say that employers can do today to help women stay physically fit across all stages of life?
I think encourage them. Like, let's just keep it really simple, just encourage them. So what incentives are you able to offer them? Is it that actually you can just give them that time that I spoke about earlier? Or are there opportunities that you can provide that allow your female employees the ability to stay active? So whether that's via platforms such as Peppy, can you form a walk or a run club? Is there a gym on location? So are you able to kind of give them access to short classes that they can do during their working day, be it in their lunch hour or whatever? Or perhaps, you know, is there a local gym that they can access at a discounted price, for example? I mean, it's been said, but it's about empowering them, right? So giving them the access to the education. And as already mentioned, I think it was by Janet earlier, it's creating maybe champions for specific areas of women's health for that additional support. So maybe that's menopause, menstrual health, wherever it might be. And a really lovely idea is to associate chats with that. So creating a community between your employers amongst that as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Abby. I think your point about time is so relevant. And I know here at Peppy, we allow people the flexibility, you know, if they want to do a meeting whilst they're going out for a walk or whatever it may be. We're very lucky here. So I've got lots of questions coming through the Q&A. Just a reminder, if there is anything that you want answered, please do pop it in there. Now, we've covered a lot today, so I really want to ensure that everyone on this call can take away some actions. Now, I connect with HR leaders every day and they ask me all the time, where do I start? And I'm sure there are people watching thinking exactly the same. So my biggest advice to you is education, awareness, and conversation, and really creating that safe, comfortable environment where everyone can thrive. So I just wanted to add a little bit of a takeaway in there. But we've got lots of questions to come to, so I want to make sure that I'm answering exactly what you guys want to know. So let me see where I should start. So we've got this question here. We're thinking about introducing women's health benefits in our organisation, but getting buy-in from senior leadership is a challenge. What's the most compelling way to convince them of a business case? Now, I don't know if anyone wants to add anything in here. I think I can definitely kind of start here. Building a business case, you think would be something that you can get sign off quite easily from, you know, it's women's health. It affects 50% of our workforce. And we know that actually every woman is going to be going through something at some stage of her working career. So the most compelling way, like I said before, is really knowing your numbers, looking at your levels of leave, looking at your levels of people coming back to work full time, and really trying to present that ROI case with those numbers and with that evidence as well. Anything to add at all? No. Fab, thank you. Okay, next question then. We have a lot of younger employees who don't think about menopause or pregnancy benefits yet. How do we make sure they feel included in these conversations? Frida, I'm going to come to you for that one because I think you kind of look at women's health from a younger age.
Absolutely. And I think that that's it. Where we are in this unique position where we have this wraparound which will take you from literally, women's health, talking about periods, talking about gynecological conditions, through to pregnancy, parenthood, taking you out the other side and looking at, menopause. But that early journey, where you may have conditions that you need to talk about. We talk and we advise on sexual health, we advise on contraception, conditions. We also can give you, like I talked about earlier, just things in terms of your ovarian reserve, giving you information, because knowledge is power. And small snippets of information can actually make big changes to what you decide to do. We know that things like egg freezing have become much more common, purely because women are now more empowered to take control of their fertility journey. And that's one of the things that, I think the fertility team feel really passionately about, is the fact that we can actually help you on that journey by giving you those pieces of information, which you can do at 22, 23. Once you are an adult, you can make these decisions for yourself. So you don't have to be in one of those life moments like pregnancy or menopause to use our services. You can be actually just looking to find out things.
Yeah, exactly. It's all, like you said, knowledge is power, all about the education.
Absolutely.
Abby, I'm actually going to come to you as kind of a follow-up there, because I think actually what you do is really how you can get younger women involved in understanding their health and that preventative side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it kind of goes both ways. You're never too young, you're too old to start with these things. And it's some of the educational stuff that we do, like the events we run within the fitness team, cover quite a lot of varied aspects of that, which is obviously available to all users to come to. So we discuss things like your menstrual health, exercise in pregnancy, exercise in menopause. And obviously we've got the one-to-one avenues as well. So, and we cater to everybody, and we're encouraging and supportive to everybody, because it's really important to stay healthy and active for life more than anything, as well as obviously workplace. So yeah.
Absolutely, thank you. Janet, we have another question here for you. One challenge I have personally with perimenopause is, but you're too young. I'm 44 and in the thick of some real debilitating symptoms. I'm finding it really hard to open up to my employer because of this myth.
Okay, so come talk to us first, and we can absolutely support you then to go and talk to your employer. But it's about recognizing what you're experiencing, looking at how you want to manage it, and with regard to work, those things, the changes that you might need to be made at work for you to be able to do that. So we can empower you with the knowledge with regard to maybe some reasonable adjustments that might need to be made at work. Now, whether that means, if it's hot flushes you're experiencing, it can be working near a window, having a fan, having some short breaks within your day. If the ability's there and you're having a really tired day because you had night sweats all night, so didn't sleep, the ability to work from home sometimes. If it's anxiety and brain fog, for instance, if you're struggling with different ways to communicate at work, from someone saying to you maybe, oh, can you just do so and so, and then you forget that 10 seconds later, to having communication written down or by email. So there's lots and lots of things that can be done with managing perimenopause at work, but it's about supporting you to get yourself feeling right as well. And that's the most main thing that we do. It's the most important thing that we do.
Absolutely. And knowing that, you have the confidence to know your body and say, no, this is happening. This is actually a real life impact that I'm having. Thank you, Janet. Now, like I said, we could be chatting all day, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap up now. But what an incredible discussion we've had. Thank you so much to our lovely panelists for your expertise and obviously for joining us today. If you are a HR or benefits leader who wants to take action, now is the time. The best employers are already making moves, so don't get left behind. And if you'd like to explore how Peppy can support your organisation, scan the QR code to register for our event that's coming up on Wednesday, the 26th of March, inside Peppy. And here you will meet our lovely clinical director, Laura. You'll hear some more client stories and also see a live healthcare benefit demo. So scan the QR code now. And remember, International Women's Day is about action, not just words. So let's keep pushing for better support, better policies, and a workplace that truly works for all women. Thank you all for joining, and see you soon.